If you're struggling right now with something that you're creating or building, it's not because you lack motivation or inspiration or even information. It's because you've forgotten the purpose. You see, this modern world of rampant consumerism would have you believe that all you need is a steady stream of motivation to continue, the validation of an external source to fuel you, to keep you going. But you see, that becomes a double-edged sword because, like an addiction, when we rely on something outside of ourselves, we become dependent on someone else, on something else, and inevitably, we will crash. That is always a compensation for a lack of clarity that comes from purpose. You see, the reason why you started in the first place is all that you need to carry you throughout this process. Why was it that you started? Was it to make an impact, to make a difference? Was it to help and serve people? Was it for growth and expansion and evolution? Was it out of a curiosity to discover something new? Was it out of an obsession for an itch that you just had to scratch? No matter what the initial reason, it is only that which will sustain you. And if for whatever reason that is not shining like it once did, it's because it's calling to be transformed. There's always a new dimension, a new depth to why we do what we do. And as we move through the experience of bringing that into the world, we're required to look within, to recalibrate, to realign ourselves with what is guiding us to carry that out. And that source is dynamic. It is alive. It's not something static that never changes. It breathes life into our thoughts, into our feelings, into our actions. It's that inner calling which directs and informs all that we're doing to manifest our goals and our dreams and our aspirations. It's an easy thing to forget, but it's so simple to remember, to realign with that reason why we began. And by tapping into that source within, we have access to infinite resources, to infinite intelligence, to a creative imagination, which we won't be able to find anywhere outside of ourselves. And if we try to find it out there, we will likely fall prey to comparison, and we will inevitably compromise on our values and what's guiding us. That short-term hit that we get from an external source, the hype that we feel, pales in comparison to the clarity that comes from the purpose of why you do what you do. Ultimately, if it doesn't come from within, then it's not true and it's not sustainable. Doesn't mean that we can't look to others for encouragement. It's just that it can become like an addiction, where then we rely on it. You don't need another hit of dopamine. You only need to pause and remember why you began. What was that spark that inspired you to act? What was the vision that compelled you to create? And what was that original feeling that made you start in the first place? Rather than seeking for encouragement, motivation, and validation from something outside of you, look within. That's where you'll find true confidence, intelligence, inspiration, clarity. That's where the infinite resources and abundance and all that you need can be found.